like yesterday we had Stephen Jones on, and the one position that he threw out there whenever we asked, like, what is that position that you think you might need to add at some point in the season, he did say wide receiver. And a veteran wide receiver would be something that they would be looking to. They added a USFL guy today, but I started kind of thinking maybe later in the season, maybe sometime, would OBJ be a guy that the Cowboys would pursue in the middle of the season to add a veteran wide receiver to this team?
I hope not. He's too hurt.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that would be my main problem with that. Maybe late in the year, super late, so he only has like 3 or 4 games to get hurt. If you're going to be a playoff team, I maybe advocate OBJ in that time. But I don't know why they're talking about another wide receiver. We need more good offensive linemen to reopen up the running game, right? You had so many wide receivers last year. It didn't work, couldn't run the ball. So I think, to me, Gallup, Lamb, Schultz, Pollard in the passing game, that is enough. What, to me, we haven't seen enough of is the ability to run the football.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're making a move after OBJ at that point, your season's probably gone so far south that I don't know that OBJ would matter enough. Like if you're even exploring that, I think that things have gone so poorly that it's like, okay, well, this isn't going the way we wanted, and it wouldn't have moved the needle anyway. But, yeah, I think that, you know, what we saw from Tolbert yesterday and the way the passing game looks like, I'm willing to just let this ride out. And if it doesn't work, then, you know, go to the draft next year and look at picking a receiver in the first round.
Yeah, I think what we saw from Jalen Tolbert yesterday has me just a little bit more optimistic. I'm just feeling a little bit better about this receiving core as a whole. If there's an injury, maybe you reevaluate that during the season. But right now, no, I don't think OBJ is a serious option, but a lot can happen between now and, say, October or closer to Thanksgiving when he might be ready.
He's the only guy that's out there that has shown that he could ever actually be a true number 1 wide receiver. And if CeeDee Lamb goes down, you don't have one on the roster.
Sure.
So OBJ fits that bill more than anyone on the roster. As soon as CeeDee Lamb has we pray that he doesn't. But the soft tissue injury, there's a hamstring, there's anything like that. Who's your number 1 wide receiver? You do not have one. At that point, you really are wide receiver by committee,
No doubt.
You start feeling like it's 2018 first 8 games again.
And I hear what you're saying, but everything they've been preaching about availability, isn't he the anti-available? I mean, Odell Beckham Jr., how many games does he really play an average a year, right? I mean, he might be ready for you for a game or two, and then the next thing you know, he tweaks a hamstring. I just don't know that you can rely on him. Even if you did sign him, it'd be exciting. The fan base would be enthused, but I just don't know how many games he plays for you.
You're also paying your quarterback $40 million a year to make average wide receivers better and maybe below average receivers average. So it is Dak's responsibility to get the most out of these guys.
Kevin, do you have another option then aside from Odell that you might say, hey, let's go after somebody like that instead?
He just got signed by Tampa, right?
Oh,
wasn't that the one that most people were thinking?
Yeah, the Julio Jones option was, and then after that, it just kind of falls apart with unless
I don't
you guys
even know
have
what y'all
another
are talking about. We got the USFL MVP, so we're fine.
Yeah, that guy. I do like the speed factor there because that's the one thing I feel like they've neglected in the team building aspect of the offense is the speed. Defensively, you see it. Dan Quinn's got all these guys at his dispense to just say we can unleash the speed here at every single level of the defense. Offensively, who scares a defense with speed?
Also,
honestly,
did you just say
Tony Pollard? And he's a 4.5 guy. He doesn't even have like 40 speed. But in game, I'm with you. He's the one guy that you feel like can take the 5 yards and turn it into 45 yards. But other than him, you don't really have it. So the speed factor of this guy they just added is nice, and Will Fuller's another guy just out there. I know he's an often injured guy, but he is a take the top off of defense speed dude.
Yeah, and he does what it takes. He'll do steroids for you.
What are you doing right
now?
now?
A little bit of that.
I like it. That's
wow.
That's added value.
It's part of his resume.
Because he's willing team player. Okay, I see what you're saying.
That's a pro,
about
not
that.
a con.
Yeah, all right. We don't expect 11 interceptions again from Diggs. Kevin
said more.
Well,
okay, more.
That's why I said we on the K&C Masterpiece. Kevin said 14, actually. Is that what you dropped on
Trayvon
us?
Diggs said 14.
So there he is looking for 14, and Broadus has said that Anthony Brown's going to be, have the most, so that means at least 15. That's 29 from the 2 cornerbacks there. But if we don't expect that, do we expect 13 again from Micah Parsons? Sacks, that is.
No, I don't. Just because, I think there's going to be a greater emphasis. I think he could be better this year and not put up as many sacks.
You are
I think
schmuck.
there's going to be a greater emphasis on.
You are an absolute Debbie Downer schmuck.
Okay,
Get him, Walsh. What you are, Bobby.
Okay.
Did you watch him play yesterday?
I did. Thank you,
Day one,
Twitter.
he's the best player on. on the field,
no,
bar none.
He is.
Best player I've ever seen.
But
granted, this is my first training camp, but still, Bob.
13?
There's going to be a greater emphasis on trying to stop Micah Parsons and block him. And I don't think he's going to be asked to put his hand in the dirt and rush nearly as much as he was earlier in the season when some of that sack production started.
Interesting.
When he was filling in for, when they were having trouble getting Lawrence on the field and Randy.
Yeah.
And so, no, I think that he could have a better season, be a better player, and still finish with like 11 sacks or something like that.
I think we're going to be talking about pushing 20 sacks for Micah Parsons.
That's what I like to hear, Wolchuk.
And we can make a bet right now if you want to, Bobby. But I think you're dead wrong on 13.
If I put 15
whatever you need.
15 and a half as the over-under, is that a fair number?
That's a fair number, and I'll take the over on it.
Boom!
You already got the GBag job. You
Show
don't need
bet.
to hot take it, Zach. Come on.
Show
I'll
bet.
shave the beard.
He will shave
Oh,
the
okay,
beard.
yeah.
Shave the beard.
Oh,
the beard
my
on it.
God.
Got one beard on the
All
line.
right.
I'm
I'll
gonna
say the
go
beard,
for
but
this.
that's not nearly as a big a thing, I don't think, for Wolchuk. So if there needs to be something parallel, I'm glad. I'm happy
Get a
to find
tattoo of Wolchuk's face on your chest.
it. Ooh. I don't know. I've already got the Joe Madden mohawk on the line for
Okay.
Tyler Smith not starting in week 1.
All
So
right.
I don't know. I'm going to have to think about this, but we will
You
do
can't
this.
have a mohawk without a tattoo, so I mean they're kind of a combo deal. That works for
Yeah,
me.
but I won't be able
like
to have
this,
that till the end of the
Wolchuk.
season.
And just so you know how much this means to Wolchuk, he literally went jobless. He decided to be unemployed in order to keep his beard because Chick-fil-A made a rule back in the day when he was a manager there that you could not have a beard. And he said, I'd rather be unemployed.
Hey, Mike,
That's
you
what he
think, you
did.
think the Yankees could get Wolchuk to shave his beard?
Yeah.
We were talking about
The
it in the car
Yankees
ride
get
over.
everybody to.
Bassick was like, the Yankees somehow get everybody who don't want to get rid of
Andrew
their beards to
Benintendi
just
was
agree
like,
to do
I'm
it.
not taking the shot. And they're like, what if we trade for you? He's like, I'm taking the shot.
Well, the Yankees are paying more than Chick-fil-A, from what I hear.
We'll have to see what that contract looks like. Dawson, you feeling like that he's going to be at that level with Parsons with the sacks, or you think
I do. I think he's a special player. I think he brings speed. I think it'd be a mistake if Dan Quinn doesn't put him in position to get the quarterback a lot. So I think they're going to want to do that. And you know what? I have a little bit of a hot take as well. I think both guys are going to go over. I know Trevon Diggs has been getting hammered for more than 11 picks, but he's so dang good at going to get the football, and they're going to throw at him so damn much. Okay, so it's kind of shots fired at Diggs. I know, but it's also patting him on the back for being excellent at what he does. So, I'm thinking 12 picks for Diggs.
There we go.
15 sacks for Micah Parsons.
I needed 16.
Kevin, this defense is
Yeah,
going to be
well,
so
I want to
Wolchuk-
see that
Wolchuk's
back.
We're going to go to the
Loses to
damn
that.
Super Bowl.
on defense alone because we don't have a receiver. Is in theory on that if something was to happen to a receiver and we don't get Beckham Jr.
Good clarification.
Yeah, I
Don't
wanted
you
to
dare
make-
talk smack about CeeDee Lamb.
Everybody's going to be healthy and the whole season's going to be fine. Just the way Mike predicted, 17-0 Super Bowl
Yeah.
victory.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going to go. And then if the Hall of Fame offensive linemen play like Hall of Famers, how far can this team go?
Does the Hall of Fame offensive tackle do that for 17 games, or does he play like a Hall of Famer for like 11?
Yeah.
If he's healthy,
Exactly. No, I mean,
they'll go for
that's-
it. I expect him to play well.
Hall of
but
Fame
how-
season.
How many games is he playing like a Hall of Famer for?
15.
Versus how many is he inactive?
Sure.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do 15
if you
or
get
16
games,
yeah.
yes,
and healthy in
yes.
the playoffs.
Yes, I would set over under on Tyron at like 12 games though, and so if you get 15 out of him, I think you're in good shape.
But if he,
Yeah,
if
that
he
would
plays
totally
like-
change how I would think about this team. I think NFC Championship game. If Martin and Tyron Smith play well, I also need Tyler Smith, being a good rookie.
Well, because, in that instance, we're really just saying the health of Tyron Smith, because we all know Zach Martin's going to play, and he's going to play well. So the only question is whether Tyron Smith's going to stay healthy from that standpoint, because when he plays, he's still very, very dominant. So it's
Except that playoff game.
the playoff game, that
playoff
is
game
fair.
was brutal.
And hopefully that wasn't the beginning of the end, but still large sample size of the season. Tyron Smith was still really good last year. So is he healthy? And if he is, you assume he's playing the Hall of Fame level, and Zach Martin is. So then it sounds like we're rocking and rolling, boys. We just need Tyron to stay healthy.
I'm really hoping that the COVID performance, that's what I'm calling it. The playoff game was COVID related.
Yes, that's right.
That was
He had
COVID.
just gotten off
He was
it.
coming off of
Politics?
COVID, and I think maybe that had something to do with the lack of success that Tyron Smith had in that game. If they can get him healthy for 85% of the season, I think that it's a shoe-in that you win the NFC East, and I think a conference championship game appearance, because I don't think the conference is very good, personally. I think you got the Rams and the Bucks, and I think the Packers have regressed, personally. That's why the offseason is very befuddling for me as to why this team didn't go more all in this year.
You know what,
Yeah.
Dawson? You know what this reminds me of, these questions, which are good questions, is remember in 2014 we were in spring training and we thought the Rangers were going to be great, and then Eric Nadel said, there's a lot of things that have to be yeses.
Yeah. I think about that all the time.
Just can't be that you just can't all get yeses on these. But yeah, if we get yeses on Diggs, on Parsons, on Dak, on the wide receivers, on the offensive line, then we will win the Super Bowl. But we just need yeses on everything to go right.
We need yeses on all those, and then not to play the 49ers in the opening round of the playoffs.
And that's the other part of that is it sounds
They won't
like
be in the playoffs.
from y'all's thoughts that a lot of these, it's going to be if the offensive line is a key to further success. The other part of this question, though, was if they're just good. Is that good enough to go far?
No. They're not talented enough across the board to survive that. Everything's got to come from the offensive line out, or else they're not going to be successful.
Kevin, do you agree with that? If the Cowboys O-line is just good?
Well, I mean, if Bobby says it, clearly I'm going to agree with it.
Oh, wow.
We established that yesterday.
Yeah, that was,
Don't like my food touching.
All of his opinions were very similar yesterday.
Except for his take about Dak sometimes.
And wrestling.
You love
don't like
wrestling.
huh?
You love it.
All right.